for Monday, June 26, 2023. We have 3 meetings this evening: the Committee of Adjustment, Public Meeting of Planning, and the regular meeting of Council. So are there any disclosure of conflict of interest? Seeing none, accept the agenda. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Manley, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry accepts the Committee of Adjustment hearing agenda for Monday, June 26, 2023.
Thank you, Councillor. No additions or deletions. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. None opposed. Ratify the minutes. Committee Adjustment hearing February 27th, February 27th, 2023. Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Martin, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry accepts the Committee of Adjustment hearing minutes of Monday, February 27th, 2023.
Thank you, Councillor. Any questions on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. None opposed. And moving on to minor variance MV 05-2023, Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Cadell. It is the recommendation of the Planning Department that the Committee of Adjustment approve minor variance application MV 05-2023 as submitted.
Thank you. Welcome, Jacob and Chantal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So our minor variance file MV 05-2023, the owners for this property, Joanne and Mario Nadeau. The location, it's 25 Jacques Street here in Alexandria. So as you can see on the map there, it's south of town, a little bit closer. So it's the apartment block located on 25 Jacques Street. Just east of that property is Tim Hortons. North of that is the property owned by the vet clinic. So the vet is like, it's just not showing on our GIS mapping there, but the entire property on the north is owned by the vet, and the property on the west is still vacant. So it's a property that's up for development. I'll say it right now, just because we have that map on the screen. So the purple rectangle that I drew there is what the property is supposed to be. The reason I say that is just because if you look on the GIS or on my other map, you'll see that the property line is actually in the middle of that little porch there on the west side. So the owner is working. He bought the property last year, I think. The owners are working to rectify the situation, but it's only for the property line on the west side where we're going to talk about for this minor variance. We're only talking about the property line on the north, so it doesn't affect, but it's just to explain why my little purple box is not the same shape, I guess, if you will, as the other property shapes that you'll see in the file. So that's the official plan designation, urban settlement area of Alexandria, of course, and it's considered commercial district. And our zoning layer, general commercial. So as you can see here, we only have my little purple boxes to avoid confusion. So just to explain, it's general commercial, but all the properties that were residential at the time that we passed our zoning bylaw are considered legal. So they call them existing residential uses are legal as per our zoning bylaw in the general commercial zone. So the zoning is fully compliant with the use of the property is fully compliant with our zoning bylaw. The purpose for this application, it's to seek relief from the zoning bylaw for a reduction in the rear yard setback, so from the required 4.5 to 0.3 meters. So where this 4.5 comes from, I tried to explain it right there, but really the building is supposed to be 6 meters from the property line. But when you're talking about exterior decks, you're allowed to go 1.5 meter within that setback. So the actual distance from your deck has to be 4.5 meter. So the owner here, so the purpose for this application is to construct a deck. So he's technically supposed to stay at least 4.5 meters from the property line. But as you can see on the maps, there's no room. So with the deck he's proposing to build, he's going to be, so we're asking here for 0.3 meters. So it's actually 1 feet. But like a survey and a building location certificate will have to be submitted at permit stage, but we estimate it's gonna be approximately 2 feet from the property line. But we're asking for one just to make sure until we have the actual survey of where the deck is going to be. So he's gonna stay, he found the pins, but we'll need to have the deck showing on the actual building location certificate. I'll show it just a little bit in 2 slides there. So this is just a really quick sketch that the owner did for this application. The plans are not completed. The owner is waiting to see if this minor variance goes through. So as you can see on the north side, so up, there's about 18 to 17 feet, and the owner wants to build a 16 feet deck. So this deck is only, like my little shaded box there, that's the only place where the deck is going to be. It's not for the entire building. And why I specify that, it's just because you'll see in the report that when the neighbor, the vet, there's 3 large trees on their property, and they want to make sure that these trees are not affected. So there's really just one tree that's going to be really, really close to that deck. The 2 other trees are a little bit on the west. So, but anyway, we'll talk to the owner to make sure the construction would not affect the trees. So that's where the deck would be. It's actually a 2-story deck. So right now, all the apartments are legal and they're safe. They all have an exit, but the deck would have 2-story, and it would be to serve the apartments on both stories. So that's why it's a little bit wider, just to help with if they want to use the deck and use them as exits and stuff like that. So that's why it's a little bit larger than what you could see, just for usefulness purposes, I guess. So that's where it would be. Everything else is fine, so we're staying within both interior side yards. And as I mentioned earlier, the west one is not affected because it's only on the north. Lot coverage is fine. The grass, green space is also okay. It's really just that rear yard setback. So that's the survey. So the part 3, so if you look at the legal description earlier, Mario's property is actually part 3, but there is a little sleeve of land there that we're not too sure why it was done, but it's there because Mario found the pins. But he'll just need to talk to the owner on the west to purchase a little bit more property eventually, or I'm not sure how the lawyers will do that, because right now the porch is literally like on the neighbor's property. It's been done. It's been like that for years. They were aware of the property when they bought it, but they're going to try to rectify that. But where we're talking is really just on part 3 for the north property line. So that's the property. So as you can see on the bottom picture, the trees there on the right side of the building are the trees that are actually on the vet. So this picture was cut from Google, so that's why the vet building is not showing. So it's right there on the right side. The trees are on the vet's property, so these trees will remain. Maybe it's a little bit clear. I didn't put the other picture. It's in the report, but so the trees, the trunk of the tree is approximately, guesstimate, they're 20 feet from the building. So there's going to be some room for the deck. He will not alter the trees, and so the property pins were found, and we're gonna make sure that he doesn't affect the tree, basically, because the neighbor specifically said it. And the 2 feet, so we're asking for 1 feet, but hopefully it's 2 feet within, just because we also advise the owner that if you're on your deck and if you have to like paint your deck or do anything with your deck, if you're just 1 feet, you're technically trespassing on your neighbor's property. So we made that clear with both, like the neighbor is aware, the vet is aware, and he's aware also. So we will try, hopefully it's a little bit more than a feet, but we'll know more when we actually have the building location certificate. So yeah, as I mentioned, 0.34 acres, the property is compliant with general commercial zone, legal confirming, discrepancy with the line on the west. There's 7 rental units, so this deck I believe will be for 4 units on the right side, but there's 7 in total in the building. So 2-story high building on the north side. So the Committee of Adjustment may approve a minor variance if the application conforms with the official plan. So in this case, OP was commercial district. Commercial district allows for residential development at various densities, so we're okay with the apartment building. Number two, with our zoning bylaw, so as I mentioned, it's fully compliant as well because it was existing before the passing of our zoning. Suitable and desirable for the surroundings, so there's only that one property really that it will affect, and it's the vet, and they have expressed their concern. Minor in nature, well, because we're only asking, so although the number sounds a lot, we're only asking for one variance, it's deemed to be minor in nature. So planning staff is in the opinion that the applicant's request variance from the zoning bylaw can be considered minor in nature, desirable and appropriate, and meets the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw and its objective policies of the official plan. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Jacob. Any questions from members of council? Go ahead, Councillor Cadell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. How wide is the deck?
The deck will be, I want to say 24 feet.
I mean, away from the back of the house, not the
No,
length.
16 feet, like from the building, 16 feet going north.
Yeah,
And I think it's 24 or 30 feet in width.
okay.
Yeah.
16 feet.
C'est une photo plus claire. I may have it here. Oh, right here, it's like, hold on. 26 feet. So it's 16 feet deep
Yeah.
by 26 feet wide.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And so that leaves them 2 feet from the property line?
Yes,
And
yeah.
there's nothing there, nothing likely to be built there?
No, well, the vet clinic have their site plan agreement, and there's nothing proposed to be constructed at the rear of the property, so that's why they don't really object to the application.
Yeah.
But they just wanted to make sure that their trees remain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments from? And this is the point where the public can speak. I'll ask the CAO.
Does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application this evening? If you do, just come to the microphone and state your name and address. Second time, does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application this evening? And a third and final time.
Okay, thank you. So you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Motion is carried, none opposed. And motion to adjourn, Councillor Cadell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Madden. There being no further business to discuss, the Committee of Adjustment hearing was adjourned at
5:42.
5:43.
I already wrote two.
I don't have my digital.
All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Okay, thank you, and we will move on right away into the public meeting of planning for Monday, June 26, 2023. Is there any disclosure of conflict of interest? Seeing none, accept the meeting agenda. Councillor Cadell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Madden, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry accepts the public meeting agenda of Monday, June 26th, 2023.
No additions or deletions. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. None opposed. Ratify the minutes for the public meeting of planning minutes, May 23rd, 2023. Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Excuse me, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Cadell, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry accept the minutes of the public meeting of planning Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023.
Thank you. Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. And moving on to zoning amendments, Z11, 2023.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So yeah, Z11, this one was probably one of the easiest reports I've ever did. It's pretty much a copy paste from what we've seen before. So it's our property. The location would be 6264 Marlborough Street in Maxville, so right here, north of town. So the purple box is the property we're discussing. So a few months ago, we passed that same exact zoning for the property just south of there. So that's why it will sound familiar. But that's the property we're talking about right now, right there. So as I mentioned in the report, as of today, right now, it's not actually a property by itself. It's still merged with the pumping station property. The survey is done, so as you know, the Planning Act gives the township authority to sever off lands like that without going to the whole process if it's done as per good planning practice. So this is the lot that is being offered to Habitat for Humanity. So it was the same for the lot on the south, but as you know, there was that little issue with the neighboring dwelling and the shed. So the dwelling is close to the property line, although it's still on its property, very close to, but the shed is clearly on the property that is owned by us. So they have requested to get that land instead, just to make sure nothing happens down the road with the shed. So what we're proposing is to sever off that land, so the zoning we're passing today is actually the exact same we passed for the lot just south of there. The zoning of the other lot will remain the same. Everything's exactly the same. It will be a lot by itself. Council will be allowed to decide what they want to do with that lot, but Habitat for Humanity asked for the lot of the north just to make sure that they are all okay with their development. So the official plan designation, the only different thing for that one is the zoning and DOP. So it's still within the urban settlement area of Maxville, but the DOP designation is major open space. And same thing for our zoning designation, which is open space. The other one was residential, but this one's open space. So this zoning bylaw amendment is presented to this committee here today. And we also did a request for an OP amendment to change the OP, because as you know, we cannot change the zoning until the OP is compliant. So this file will only be presented at council when the OP is also changed to residential district. So it's in the process right now, but the meeting, I think it's in end of July, 27th of July, something like that. So until then, we can't pass that zoning. So we're just presenting it today to be ready for when it passes. So the OP and the zoning will only change that little section there, that little box. That's the only thing the OP will change. Same thing for our zoning. So the exact same purpose of the application, so it's to change, here it's from open space to residential second density, to permit the same single semi-detached dwelling. And it's also to permit the reduction for the interior side yard on each side from the 2.4 meter required to 1.5. So as you can see here, the only thing that is being requested is the interior side yard. The plans are drawn. Some of you may have heard that they were thinking about going with a triplex, but they changed their mind. They're just going with the semi-detached just because it's easier for resale. So if they want to just split it in half with part lot control after, so they decided to stick with the semi-detached. And so everything is compliant. The lot is big enough, rear yard, front yard, everything is good except, again, here for the interior side yards. So here, 0.21 acre, going with R2 for the semi-detached. It's one-story building. So as you know, pretty much surrounding areas are all one-story buildings, single-family detached. So it's going to match the surroundings. Building permit will have to be obtained. As you know, no site plan agreement is required for this one here. Civic numbers will be issued. So this is what I mentioned there. So lot 22 is actually still with the pumping station. So we're going to detach that with the lawyers when we sell them the land or give them the land. And the zoning amendment has to wait until the OP is completely finalized. And I think, so that's a few pictures of the property. So where the trees are, a few of the trees there will have to be cut. So the newly created property line is a little bit past those trees, but you see the neighbor's shed there. I think it's the only picture. So that's the neighbor's shed. So the lot ends like where that little dirt is lifted a little bit. Then there's the new lot that we're gonna create for this semi-detached here. And this is just a view around. So as you can see, very residential, and across the street is the fairgrounds. And yeah, so this is the same thing. So Planning Act gives council the authority to do that. The PPS, as long as it's done as per good planning practice, emphasize on growth and development, so it's exactly what we're proposing here. The official plan is also in favor, so it should pass at the next council meeting. So I spoke with the planner, Peter Young, and he expects no surprise from that. So it should pass. It should be changed to residential. So in our case, right after that, we'll also change the zoning to residential R2 to allow for the semi-detached. So in conclusion, proposed zoning amendments compliant with the township's bylaw, compliant with the intent and purpose of the SDG OP, and it's consistent with provincial policy statement, promotes the efficient use of land, and is deemed appropriate for urban settlement areas such as Maxville. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from members of council? Go ahead, Councilor Goodell. Manley, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wondering, going back to those trees that are there, Jacob, just wondering, would it be possible for the trees that they have to move to build there? Those are pretty big, I guess, but I don't know. Could they be taken and transplanted to the west side of that, or along the highway or along the county road?
I think they're way too tall.
Are they way too tall?
And there's some of them that are dead.
Oh, okay.
They also are going to keep as much as they can.
Right.
They're really sad that they have to cut some trees, so they're gonna.
Okay.
Yeah. A few of them have to be cut for the driveway. The building will be a little bit in the trees, but they're gonna save as much as they can,
Okay,
definitely.
perfect.
I don't think they can be moved. I'm not an expert, but they're pretty
Yeah, they're
big.
pretty big. Okay, all right, thanks.
Go ahead, Councilor
Now,
Martin, then Deputy Mayor.
We haven't seen any kind of plans at all, what the buildings will look like, or
I have seen the plans. It's a
attractive,
basic.
gonna be attractive and everything else?
Yes, yeah. It's a basic semi-detached, one story, a little bit higher, no garage, so that's why there's two parking spots.
With a basement?
With a basement, yes.
Okay.
There's actually rooms in the basement, I believe, but
Okay.
that's why there's trying to have larger windows for the bedrooms. Pretty decent semi-detached that
Okay,
you
so
would
there's
see
your-
around. Yeah.
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just back to the trees for a second. Yeah, I had a really good look at that lot just the other day, and it's quite heavily treed, and you can see that from the pictures. So it'll change the landscape in that area significantly. So I'm glad to hear that they're going to keep as many trees as they can. But I would like to make a request of Habitat for Humanity that however many trees they take out, they replant as young trees. I think that would be appropriate, and it would be a response in case some members of the public find it alarming when they see the clearing going on, that we'll have a good answer for them. I don't know what council thinks of that, but
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I can tell you that Joanne will probably be glad to do that, because she was really, really sad to have to cut down some trees. And the property is not entirely in the wood though, like it's just a little part of it. So they will try to keep the trees, but definitely I'll mention it to her and she'll probably be very open to that solution. Right.
Councilor Manley?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and I'm wondering, and if there's no room on that particular lot, Jacob, for more trees, I mean, we have land on this side, and we have land on that side, right? They could go on our property, on the township's property too, right? They could plant trees there too, or whatever, so.
Okay. Councilor Cadell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, how much are the surveys costing us on this?
Well, the survey's already done, and Habitat for Humanity are paying for their surveys. So the surveys right now are not costing us anything.
They're not costing
No,
us anything, okay.
no, and they're all done. I've seen them. That's where, because they did them before because of the other property. because
Yeah.
of the shed that was encroaching on our property, so they
Yeah.
had to do it before. And while they were there, the surveyor, Julia, she may be on the board for Habitat, and she's always working for them. And that's when she kind of surveyed the other property, which is lot 22 also at the same time. So it's all on their costs. Yeah.
Okay, just one.
Sure, go ahead.
I believe recently there was a lot put up for sale in Maxville for $84,000.
Sure.
So, you know, we talked about a $25,000 lot when we first brought this up. And, you know, that's a substantial difference. And I just, you know, Habitat for Humanity is a wonderful thing. You know, I just wonder how our taxpayers would feel about giving away an $84,000 lot. And, you know, just,
I think
know
it's
everyone's
also
probably-
dependent where it is.
Yeah, for
For
sure.
$84,000, I mean, here,
Yeah.
this one is on County Road 22.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, that makes it a little bit different, but, you know, size-wise, it could be a full acre. This isn't a full acre. Anyways,
Yeah.
I don't know which lot it is, but.
Yeah. All of that's understandable. I just have to say, you know, nothing against Habitat for Humanity, but, you know, I'm uncomfortable with the business of all of this, how it's all come through, so I would continue to vote against it.
Okay. Further questions or comments before we go to the public? And I'll ask the CAO.
Does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application this evening? Second time, does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application this evening? And a third and final time.
Okay, thank you. And we are now moving on to Z12 2023. Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this one. The owner for this property, Gérald Leclerc, location 63 Kenyon Street West, Alexandria, so it's right there. So it should look familiar because it's the building we just sold to this gentleman. It's our old Public Works building, so located on the corner of Harrison and Kenyon Street West. So the OP designation for that one, Urban Settlement Area for Alexandria Residential District, but the zoning is institutional. So as you can see, it was zoned institutional because it was owned by us, so it was a Public Works building, so the zoning was correct, as you can see on this image right there. So all the pink that you see are different densities of residential properties, so it is pretty much surrounded with residential properties. The purpose for that one, rezone the property from institutional to residential first density to permit the conversion of an office building into a single-family dwelling. So just to show this little table here again, the owner is not proposing any addition on the building, so he will just take the existing building and convert it into a single-family dwelling. So all the requirements for R1 are being met, except for the exterior side yard on the right side and the front that are supposed to be 6 meters, but because the building is there already, it's considered legal non-conforming. So if the owner would ever decide to go closer to the property line than what the building currently is, he would have to do a minor variance, but because the building is there and he's not touching the building envelope, it's legal non-conforming. So we're only asking to change the zoning to residential for the conversion of the existing building. So the lands are 69 feet on Kenyon Street and 122 along Harrison, so 0.2 of an acre. The property is big enough for an R1 property. Single-family dwelling, so there's just one unit that he wants to have. A building permit will have to be obtained, and as you saw earlier, it's surrounded with different kinds of zoning designation. So we didn't receive any comments from members of the public or any agency, so it's that building right there, so just to refresh everyone's memory. Right now, the owner, he got a demolition permit to start the work, but he will get a full permit to change this into a residential. So we've checked with Public Works, water and sanitary connection, and everything is already done. So he'll just convert what he has inside to residential, and it's going to be a house right there. So as you can see all around also, very residential in that area at different densities, but it's very residential across the street as well. So the Planning Act, so it gives the council authority to do that. The PPS is also okay as, the county's official plan, as you saw, it is designated residential district. So we're right into what it's supposed to be, full range of medium and low and high densities. So it's exactly compliant with everything. This is really just to adjust the zoning to ensure that the owner can build a house, convert to a house. So in conclusion, based on the criteria, proposed zoning amendments compliance with the township zoning bylaw with the intent and purpose of the SDG official plan, consistent with the PPS, and it promotes the efficient use of land and deem appropriate for urban settlement areas like Alexandria. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Great, thank you. Questions or comments? Members of council? Ask the public.
Does anyone wish to speak in favor or against this application this evening? Second time, does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application this evening? And a third and final time.
Great, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to Z13 2023. Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The owner for that one, Marc Delorme, location is 270 Industrial Boulevard. So right there, northwest of Alexandria, a little bit closer. So this should look familiar. We've discussed that a few times now already. So that's one of the property, well, it's one of the biggest reasons why council has directed staff to change the 5 properties that are laying in right there, that are laying in the employment district. So all the 5 properties are the designations being changed to residential district. So why? Well, one of the main reasons, just to make it compliant with what's there now, and to also help with this property, to change it to residential, to be able to have an apartment building inside. So that's everything we've discussed up to now was really just for the OP. So we're having the OP change. We directed the counties to do so. This is really for a zoning amendment just for that particular property. So right there, the zoning is institutional, and because it's institutional, because it's that, the owner cannot change the building to an apartment building. So there's many solutions that were discussed, but anyway, the best solution for the owner is to change it into an apartment building. So it's really just that property we're changing. The other properties, it doesn't change anything to the use. Even though it's not compliant with institutional, it's deemed compliant or legal non-conforming. This here, it's really just because Mark needs a building permit, so he needs to be compliant with all applicable law, including zoning, so that's why we're changing that property. The request is to change it from institutional to residential 4th density. And here, the 4th density, our 4th density is for apartment buildings, so it's the only reason why it's 4th density. There's going to be 5 units in the building. We did not want to limit any owner to 5, so that's why we just said R4. So if another owner, the building is pretty big, there's room for more than 5, but the owner, I believe, will live on one of the floors entirely, and then 2 and 2. So if another owner decides to split it in more, he will still be able, because we're just changing it to R4. So that's why we're not talking about any specific amount of apartments. So the property is big, 96 acres, 270 industrial. The character will still match. There's just going to be minor renovations on the exterior. And here, one of the biggest aspect that helped this owner was the IHA development. So as you know, the entire section on the south side was also changed to residential to various densities. So there's residential there, and then there's the water tower, hydro plant, and buildings that are compliant with residential. So it helped for the OP amendment. So this is another one where we're only going to bring back this zoning amendment only once the OP is changed. So it's on the same date. We have to wait for that, but we're going to be ready for when it's changed. So that's just a quick site plan. So as you see there, there's 5 apartments, and because of the new Bill 23, there's no site plan agreement required because it's under 10. But as you can see, there's no issues. There's lots of parking. There's lots of room for some future development if the owner would like to do any. Entrance is there, civic number is there. It's really just a change of use basically on the building, but we have to be compliant with OP and zoning. So 5 units. The former was an office building, hard to rent, so that's why this all came to our department. Site plan control not required, just the building permit, and that's the building. So what you see there is actually main floor and second floor. If you go behind, there's like a walkout basement for the owner's apartment. So there's lots of parking for 5 units. According to Bill 23, you only need 1 parking per apartment now, so there's lots and lots of parking. It should not create any adverse effect on any neighboring property. So that's what it looks like from the road. Planning Act, same thing. PPS also encourages these types of development at various densities. SDG official plan, same thing. If it's done as per good planning practice, promotes development, promotes good use of municipal servicing. So in conclusion, based on criteria above, the proposed zoning amendment is compliant with the township zoning bylaw and with the intent and purpose of the SDG official plan, and it's consistent with provincial policy statement, promotes the efficient use of land, and deemed appropriate for urban settlement areas such as Alexandria. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Excellent, thank you. Questions or comments from members of council? Okay, I will ask the public.
Does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application this evening? Second time, does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application this evening? And a third and final time.
Okay, thank you. And next is motion to adjourn. Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Martin. There being no further business to discuss, the public meeting of planning was adjourned at 6:06 p.m.
All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. None opposed. Is everyone good to get going right into the regular meeting? Okay. So again, welcome to everyone to our regular meeting of council for Monday, June 26th. The meeting will open with the national anthem. Thank you, everyone. So call the meeting to order. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? Seeing none, accept the agenda. Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Madden, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry accepts the agenda of the regular meeting of council on Monday, June the 26th, 2023.
Thank you. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Adoption of the minutes. Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Cadell, that the minutes of the following meetings be adopted and circulated, as circulated. Regular meeting of council, May 23rd, 2023, and committee of the whole, June 21st, 2023.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. And we have no delegations this evening. Staff reports, Administrative Department, HGMH Pool Agreement. Councillor Cadell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Manley, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry authorize the mayor and CAO clerk to enter into an agreement with the hospital, Glengarry Memorial Hospital, for the operations and management of swim and pool programs at the hospital pool location.
Thank you, Councillor. You're taking this one? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So as I presented at the Committee of the Whole last week, this is the formalization of the agreement with the hospital for the pool. So we've been speaking to the CEO of the hospital for almost a year now about the reopening, and I'm pleased to announce that they have put water in the pool, and I was just communicating with Robert today actually about getting some scheduling. I met with the Director of Community Services this morning about lifeguards. So we should have some programming up and running for the fall. The Director also of Community Services also connected with Danielle from Community Living, so she's also looking at using some of our space that we're going to have there as well. So we're very excited to get this going. I know you all probably saw the wonderful photo in the Glengarry News. So yes, but we are very excited to get the programming going, and hoping that council approves the report this evening.
Great, thank you. Questions or comments? Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have to say, since that's been in the paper and we've put out our press release or whatever, the number of people that have said to me that is so welcome that we're able to bring that forward. I think it was a great move on council's behalf to make this happen. So congratulations to staff on working on this or whatever, much appreciated.
Great. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Okay, moving on to Community Services Department, outline for Economic Development Action Plan. Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Move on myself, seconded by Councillor Madden, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receives staff report number CS 2023-10, and that Council of the Township of North Glengarry approves the proposed outline for the Economic Development Action Plan.
Thank you. Welcome in.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the report you have in hand actually was reviewed by the Community Development Committee at the May 31st meeting. You see that there's an outline included in the report, and that speaks to the research component, to the consultation with the stakeholders, as well as the preparation of the draft report that would come back to council for review. We will also be offering the opportunity to the community to review the draft report prior to bringing back a final report. So we expect this process to start, actually we already have started. We're working on the survey as we speak, and to be concluded prior to the holidays, the Christmas holidays. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Great, thank you. Questions or comments? Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think I said this to you at the community development meeting, but I'll say it again. I really like this plan. It's solid. It's got all of the different important steps to it. It's consultative, if that's a word, of the public, which is really important, and it's an open and transparent process. So I think the end result will reflect that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just checked. Consultative is not a word. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't check. Any further questions or comments on this? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Moving on to number 2, CIP application 3 Main Street South, Maxville. Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Martin. The Council of the Township of North Glengarry approves the Community Improvement Plan project at 3 Main Street South, Maxville, Ontario, as submitted by the property owner Ron Metcalf. Program B, Building Improvement Grant, representing a matching grant of 50% up to a maximum of $2,500 for the second facade visible from the street. Total grants $2,500.
Okay. Welcome. Ann?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This project was presented to the Arts, Culture and Heritage Committee on June 5th, and this is actually the second time that this property has come forward to the Arts, Culture and Heritage Committee as well as to Council. Previously, there was some brickwork that was done to the front facade and adjustments also to the ramp accessing the business that is in that building. This here is going to be for some brickwork on another visible facade. There's going to be some removal of some metal flat stock and repair to about 200 bricks along that wall. And there's going to be repair work done to the door and reinstallation of some brick. So the project is well over the threshold required for this subsidy. You will see that of the $5,600, we will be allotting $2,500, and that is the amount that was remaining on the grant. So when we have a property come to us for a second time, they are allowed to max out the maximum of the grant, which is $7,500. And the first time they came to us and they were allotted $5,000. So we're happy to bring this forward for council's approval.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. CIP application 23 Main Street South, Maxville. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Williams, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry approves the Community Improvement Plan at 23 Main Street South, Maxville, Ontario, as submitted by the property owners Ken and Sharon Johns. Program B, Building Improvement Grant, representing a matching grant of 50% up to a maximum of $7,500 for 2 facades visible from the street. Program C, Civic Address Grant, representing 1 civic sign provided by the municipality as part of the civic sign program. Total grant $7,500.
Okay, thank you. Ann.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'm really pleased to bring this report to council because this is exactly the type of project that we really want to support through the Community Improvement Plan. You'll see from the pictures in this report that this is a building of importance in Maxville, and we are looking at a replacement of the tower at the top of the building. The pictures included also show the damage that was caused. There's leakage around the tower, and there's been extensive damage inside the property. I must also mention that this property has undergone extensive renovations inside to bring it back to its original heritage look. So we are really pleased to bring this report, this property, for council's approval in the amount of $7,500. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ann. Questions or comments? Deputy Mayor Williams, then Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to echo Ann's comments with regards to the importance of this type of project. You know, when we were designing the CIP years ago, it was really one of the main components of it was to help homeowners and big building owners or business owners to maintain the historic character of these original and historic buildings. And, you know, with the cost of actually, you know, restoring that tower, you know, it could have been lost if we didn't have this CIP and if we weren't prepared to help a property owner renovate it and restore it. And I think it just demonstrates the importance of this program and the value of the taxpayers' dollars going into it.
Thank you. Councillor Martin.
Well, I mirror your comments. Exactly. I think that's exactly what this project was for, to keep the historic value of the historic properties in Maxville and Alexandria. So very good. I like it.
Go ahead.
And Mr. Mayor, I really want to mention that this is Natalie's work. She is the one who does all of the legwork on these projects, and she's been out in the community, and we're actually seeing the fruits of that because we are seeing a higher intake on the CIP. So I did want to mention that this is all her good work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Moving on to the Treasury Department, bylaw 18-2023, procurement policy. Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Cadell, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry recommends the approval of bylaw 18-2023 and the associated revised procurement policy, and that bylaw 18-2023 be read a first, second, and third time and enacted in open council this 26th day of June 2023.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Welcome, Kim.
Good evening, Council. The procurement policy has had some minor changes. Basically, it's a living document, and when things change, it needs to be changed as well. The changes that were added were they're highlighted in yellow in your procurement policy, and basically deal with the procedures on government portal bulk purchases and electronic bids. The other change that was made to it is that tenders will no longer be publicly opened, nor is it required under both the Canada Free Trade Agreement and the Comprehensive Economic Trade Agreement. Also, for people who are bidding electronically, there's not an opportunity for them to usually be here because they are at a distance. The changes are found on basically pages 11 and 13 through 17. There have been no other changes to any of the approval limits at all. There was one change from what you have in front of you, and that was we had an address that was reflecting 90 Main, so that change has been made as well.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from members of council? How many, on a typical bid, if you got 5 bids, how many would be electronic as opposed to,
Now it's mostly electronic.
yeah?
I mean, we used to have maybe 2 or 3 people show up. Prior to COVID, it was like 5 or 6, and then COVID hit and it basically shut everything down. It's mostly electronic now.
Okay,
Plus these government portals like Canoe and things like that, they offer a much more reasonable price because they're bulk purchases, right? So they purchase and then they offer the prices at a reduced rate for us, so.
okay. I'll ask again, any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. And thank you, Kim. Moving on to Planning, Building, and Bylaw Enforcement Department, Bylaw 20-2023, Administrative Monetary Penalties. Councillor Cadell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move by myself, seconded by Councillor Manley, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report number BP 2023-16 regarding the proposed administrative monetary penalties, AMPS, and that bylaw 20-2023 be read a first, second, third time and enacted in open council this 26th day of June 2023.
Thank you, Councillor. Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So since I presented that report last Wednesday at the Committee of the Whole, since then we have not changed the bylaw. I don't know if you went through it. It's very long, but we have not made any changes. So we're exactly the same. The bylaw officer started to look into getting the screening officer and the hearing officers, making the sample for the actual penalty ticket. So so we're just looking to pass this bylaw so we can start working with it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
When do you anticipate that we'll start handing out fines for?
Technically tomorrow, but we don't have the fines yet. But as soon as it's there's already a few situations that we're not waiting on the bylaw to pass, but we know that it will help. But no, it'll be if the bylaws pass, it'll be good to go for tomorrow, basically.
Perfect. Councillor Martin, you're new, so I'm sure you read everything completely. Okay, thank you. Any further questions or comments, Councillor?
One quick one, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm curious, are we able to add to this in the future? And my example would be, say, trucks on Main Street, and even though it's a county road, is that something that we'd actually be able to enforce with this?
I'm not sure, because this is with the Highway Traffic Act also. We could check into it. The answer to your question, if we can add to this, yes, very easily. So what you do is you just do a little addendum and you add the bylaw number and you add it. You don't even have to repass the bylaw. You just have to add the new bylaw to the AMPS program. That's it, that's all. And for minor tweaks, like let's say the bylaw officer finds that the second fine for grass not being cut is not high enough, that people just laugh in his face and whatever, he can easily decide to just bump it up with the help from the clerk. To add a bylaw like that where it involves like mostly the police, because we don't issue Highway Traffic Act fines, I will have to check into that. I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
It's a good question. I hope we can, because it'd be good for us to enforce it. Further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Okay, zoning bylaw amendment Z07 2023, Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Cadell, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopts zoning bylaw number Z07 2023, and that bylaw 07/2023 be read a first, second, and third time and enacted in open council this 26th day of June 2023.
Thank you, Councillor. Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the owner for this file, Cyril and Miriam Schneider, 21991 Emma Lane in Glen Robertson. The purpose was to rezone the retained portion, but just the retained portion for that one. So as you can see right here, it's the blue portion, to rezone it to prohibit any residential development. And the reason for that, not because it's less than 74 acres, but simply because it will be landlocked. It has no frontage on a maintained road allowance. We have received no comments or concerns from members of the public on the file. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Zoning bylaw amendment Z08 2023, Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Madden, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopt zoning bylaw Z08 2023, and that bylaw Z08 2023 be read a first, second, third time and enacted in open council this 26th day of June 2023.
Thank you, Councillor. Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The owner for this one, Michel and Mario Longtin, 1610 McMaster Road in Dunvegan. The purpose was to rezone both the severed and the retained. So the retained to prohibit residential development and the severed to prohibit agricultural use. So that was one of the most typical surplus dwelling severance. So we're just retaining both properties as per Planning Act as a condition to their severance. And we have received no comments from agencies or members of the public. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. We're going to need someone to vote against something tonight so that we're not all right on the same page, okay? Zoning bylaw amendment number Z09 2023, Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Martin, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopt zoning bylaw number Z09 2023, and that bylaw Z09 2023 be read a first, second, third time and enacted in open council this 26th day of June 2023.
Thank you. Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The owner for this one, Benjamin Lavigne, 2825 Hope We Met Road in Glen Robertson. Again, here it's a condition on a severance, so we have to rezone both the severed and the retained. Retained portion to prohibit residential development, and the severed portion prohibit ag use, and to acknowledge the interior yard setback from the required 6 meter to the proposed 1 meter for the accessory storage. So I'll zoom in a little bit right here. The white building that you see on the top of your screen, The lines are not exactly there, so they've been moved to be actually closer to the building. The driveway that you see will actually be the field entrance, so they're gonna create a right-of-way, but that creates that the property line is a lot closer to the building, so we're asking for that minor variance at the same time. We have received no comments or comments from any agencies or members of the public. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Councilor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to clarify, sorry, the driveway is going to stay on the ag, so the right-of-way will be on the ag, but the right-of-way is for that, to get to that barn.
Yeah, sorry, I should have specified. So there's two driveways. One is for the house and that little shed that you see on the bottom right corner.
Yep.
And there's another driveway just on the north of the property that is currently being used for that big shed there and for the field. So
Okay.
they have decided to make that entrance for the field, but they will create a legal right-of-way to access that large shed, because otherwise they would have to go right in the middle of their lawn with the
Okay.
tractor to access the
Yeah.
shed, so, yeah.
I thought, no, just from when we looked at it last time, I thought the driveway was staying on the residential, but that's fine.
Ag, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Zoning bylaw amendment number Z10 2023. Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Williams, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopt zoning bylaw number Z10 2023, and that bylaw Z10 2023 be read a first, second, and third time and enacted in open council on this 26th day of June 2023.
Thank you. Councilor, sorry.
Yes,
Jacob.
thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Rayon.
So I can vote now, right?
Yeah.
The owner for that one, Benjamin Leving as well, location 22285 St. Anne Road in Glen Robertson. Again here, typical condition for a severance. We're rezoning the retained to prohibit residential development and rezoning the severed to prohibit ag use, and to also acknowledge interior and rear yard from the required 5 to 3 meters and 3.11 meter. Basically just to maximize the agricultural land. So as you can see, the top left building right there, very close to the line. It's not that close. It's still 10 feet, like 3 meters to the property line, but it's that building. So everything else is compliant, but the line is very close to that. It's now going to be a residential storage, so we're just acknowledging that at the same time. We have received no comments from agencies or members of the public. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. It's good, we saved all of our negative for, oh, what's up? Oh, Public Works. Okay, moving on to the Public Works Department, we have the tandem plow replacement schedule. Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Martin, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry authorizes the Director of Public Works to increase the quantity of the order for tandem plows in the current joint tender with the United Counties of SDG to 2 instead of 1, with an expected expenditure of $380,000 in 2024 per plow.
Thank you. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So unfortunately, with the build schedules, it looks like that we're not going to get our plow for 2023 that was in the budget for this year. So in light of that, and to try and retain this year's pricing, we want to increase our order to 2 plows. That will mean that next year we'll actually be able to, we'll be getting 2024's plow as well as 2023. There was an attachment, I'm sorry, I should have put it in the presentation, for our replacement schedule. If you have a look through our schedule, correlating with our asset management plan, we are looking to get our fleet back within that 15-year replacement schedule. So we currently have, we just replaced 2 plows in 2022, which is good. So we only have 5 that are out of of the replacement schedule. So with the 2 next year, that would actually put us with only 3 plows that are outside of that window, and that would be the 3 2008 models. So they'd be replaced in 2025, 2026, and 2027, and then that will put us back in the green. We would then be, all of our plows would be under that 15-year window, which helps for our insurance, helps for our cost for maintenance, helps for our downtime during storms with guys sitting on the side waiting for their plows to be repaired. So that's our overall strategy, and it's unfortunate that we won't get the 2023 plow this year, but we should, I think we should capitalize on that and try and get back on track.
Perfect, thank you. Questions or comments? Deputy Mayor Williams.
Typically, in the past, what has been the length of time before we've replaced a plow?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So it is a little bit hard to say. It looks like we have done some used plow replacements, such as the 3 2008 models. The years that we have, I can read them off. We had the 2 that were replaced. I'm sorry, I don't have that in front of me, but we have a 1999 plow, a 2004, and then 3 2008s currently in service. And our maintenance budget is quite high right now, and we do a lot of servicing on them. But I don't think it was a planned replacement, within a window of time, to sell the assets and trade them off. We have sold 2 plows this year that were essentially hanging around as replacements, or when plows go down to pick them up and use them. So we're down to one spare. So.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea to plan on regular replacement of our assets. That's important planning, for sure. It's just, when I think about the way the county does it, it's kind of the gold-plated standard of 15 years, and I think it's ideally, if we can do that, that's great. But the county doesn't use debt to buy anything. And so in some ways it's easier to have that really strict, shorter schedule. My concern is whether or not that's realistic financially for us. That's my question. So I'd like more information before I agreed to this.
Go ahead.
Through Mr. Mayor, can I ask what information you're looking for?
Well, what are repair costs, versus buying earlier are? So what have we been putting into these vehicles for the last number of years that will offset, the added expenditure, the earlier expenditure of a new plow? And similarly, how long these plows can actually last us without being, costing us far too much that we need to replace it. If we can, if the plows are, really, sturdy for up to 20 years, then why wouldn't we plan on keeping it for 20 years? I don't have the answer to that, and I would just like some more information.
Kim, we'll go to Kim first, and then...
So typically what's happened in the past, like when I started here, there was no 10-year plan. So it was very hard. It was like when we needed something, and it was done, we bought it. I think it's much better now that we're getting on a scheduled plan, and we can, we won't have these peaks and valleys where 1 year we have to spend $2 million on fleet, and the next 2 years we don't spend anything. So it's kind of a growing pain right now to try to get this schedule. Both of these tandems were planned for long-term debt for financing in the capital plan, but that's subject to change during budget deliberation time. But I think it's great to be on this schedule so you know when you're going to replace these, rather than just when it finally dies, we're against the wall going, oh my gosh, we got to buy something. So it's a growing pain right now, but I think in the long run, it's going to be very good.
Tim?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So just a few things to add is the county do have a 15-year replacement schedule, but they also don't, and that is a really good standard, but they actually don't use their plows as much as we do. So the other thing that happens with our plows is we actually use them during the summer, which the county really doesn't at all. Mm-hmm. So we trade out the backs for water tanks and flatbeds to haul our, new crack ceiling trailer and that sort of stuff. So just to summarize, we landed on the 15-year replacement schedule after consulting with the counties and the rest of the public works directors as well. And I don't think I don't have data from the previous North Glengarry's fleets because the records weren't kept in that sort of way. But there was a general consensus that a 15-year, really the standard that the lower tier municipalities were pushing for is a 10-year replacement schedule, which is too expensive for a small municipality like us, especially with the amount of kilometers and the amount of the weight of the snow that we need to push. We only run one shift, not two shifts. So the counties actually have a bit of an advantage on us in that they're always pushing a small accumulation, and our trucks are, pushing a bit more snow when we actually get around to push it. So just some reasoning why we came on this, but I completely understand they're a very big purchase and a major asset for us. So we definitely want to try and make it as efficient as possible.
Yep, go ahead.
So Tim, when you're jumping on an SDG joint tender, correct? So and we're looking at purchasing 2 through the joint tender, correct? So when do you need to let the county know whether we're doing that?
Within the next week to be able to make it within the to be able to jump on and get this year's pricing instead of 2024's pricing, which will be more again.
So really, we already have authorization for 1, correct? So you're just looking for pre-authorization for the second one?
Yes, for next year's, yeah.
Okay, Councillor Martin.
I was just curious on the recovery cost, when we get rid of one, obviously the 99 snowplow is pretty well worthless, but on maybe a 12 or 15-year plan, would we recover any costs, to sell it? Any idea?
Through you, Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. So we do get, they are very, very good pieces of equipment. The 2 that we sold were very old, but we did get, I think, 30,000 in total. So it was 10 grand for one and I think 20 for the other. And they were very, very old and were held together with a little bit of a hope and a prayer. But one of them went to somewhere in the East Coast, so they actually drove it a long way before I was very surprised. But once they remove, they tend to use them as tandem trucks, not as plows. So once you take that weight off of the wing and the front blade, you actually get a lot of utility out of them. Unfortunately, we need them for pushing the snow, right? So, and bringing them within that 15-year replacement cycle, that's the idea as well. Is we can actually get rid of them, well, not get rid of them, but resell them when they still have some value in them, because one of those trucks was worth absolutely nothing. Yeah. So the other one that went was Unit 70 here in town. So that was good.
I'll apologize for 2008. We borrowed $1 million from ourselves and bought 3 plows and a grader for $1 million. So that's why we have all those to replace. So. Any further questions or comments? Go ahead, Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of things. One, I happened to be in one of the county patrols last week, and they had 3 or 4 of the plows lined up, and they're all beautifully painted and looking all shiny, and they have the time and the ability to really really, really clean them up. Like you say, ours are getting used all year round. Couple of things, the models we're looking at, I'm presuming it's what everybody else is using right now. So maintenance parts readily available, not a challenge going forward. And automatic transmissions, I think.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. Actually, this is one of the things I'm very happy with is when meeting with the SD&G, and we're really trying to convince a lot of the other municipalities to get on board on a standardization across the county. We had previously been using a specification for new plows that was essentially supplier direct. So the supplier could really change the different consumables, such as lights and a lot of the things that we would change ourselves. Going with SDG, they have a very, very good specification that we sat down. We had to modify it a bit because we use our plows a little bit differently, such as we need a front bumper. So we take the stuff off and we put a front bumper on the in the summer. That's something that SDG doesn't do. But it standardizes everything and it's very, very specific. So the models and makes will change, but they have to meet our specification. So it would be very, very nice if, you know, the manufacturers would always just make their trucks in one way. But you never really get that, especially when you're looking at it long term. I think I've got a plan here for 30 years, I think. So the models don't stay the same over that time, but the hydraulic pumps need to be mounted in a very specific position behind the cab. It needs to be a dual stage pump. The lights need to be in a certain section. The mirrors need to be mounted just so everybody can see and see everything as we go. It needs to be hooked up with a automatic greaser. So the idea is really to get those very, very basic operations that are done by our operators, you know, the oil changes, the filling up the grease, checking on the hydraulic pumps, get that all done so that we're not paying expensive mechanics to do the basic stuff for us, and make sure that's standardized across our fleet. So that is something I'm pretty happy about, that we met with the SDG to work out.
Just
Okay, one follow-up and then we'll move on.
just to go back to the cost of maintenance, ballparks. If, as we get into vehicles being sort of 10, 15, 20 years old, as we've got some of these, can we say that our cost of maintenance goes up by 20%, 25%, 50%?
I haven't done a very thorough analysis on what the exact costs are, but we've been blowing through our maintenance budget, been going well over I think we have 170,000 that is supposed to be absorbed by that operating line, and we've been blowing through it since well before I started. So.
Gotcha. Thank you.
We have to vote on the proposal that's
Someone can propose an amendment.
go ahead.
Well, I think I'd like to propose an amendment. I think I understand why you're asking for the two trucks. I get that, and, you know, the joint tender, that's all important. And so I personally, it's just my opinion, I'd be prepared to support that. However, I have questions about the 15-year replacement schedule that I don't feel satisfied at the moment being able to support that. I'd like a bit more of a discussion on the costs of maintenance and repair. And in the past, we have I thought, successfully purchased used vehicles from the counties because they were so well maintained that they were desirable. I remember us doing that.
That's when the counties offered it to the municipalities first. Now they go on bid and go or whatever they're using, and they're going for it.
So we're not getting them.
And they're going
Okay.
for too high a price.
So I don't know what council thinks. Madam Clerk, I mean, I would propose to amend the motion to say that we purchase the, approve the purchase of the 2 tandems for 2022, and then revisit the purchase schedule upon more information.
So are you okay with?
So if you're okay with the 2, then that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Then us to revisit that is something that we can revisit.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Tim, just to check, the odometer, I'm looking at the replacement schedule where it's, we've got odometers in years. The 2 that we're looking at right now, at the 340s, right, the first 2, 113 and 70, the odometers are at 29,830 and 25,222. Are those right?
Through Mr. Mayor, yes, those are the 2 that were bought in. So those are our brand new ones. So they were just taken off the. They've been through one season. It's about 25,000 kilometers per winter, essentially.
So then are we looking at 72 and 22 right now?
Yes, in 2023, and that's 72 was supposed to be in 2023, and 2024 it should be Unit 22.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Good discussion. Award of garbage and recycling collection contract. Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Move by myself, seconded by Councillor Madden, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry approves the award of the tender for garbage and recycling collection, PW 2023-01, to HGC Management, and that the council authorizes the mayor and CEO to enter into agreement with HGC Management for a variable fee based on the unit rates and quantities shown in Schedule B for 3 years, with an option to extend for a further 2 years at the discretion of the township, and that Council of the Township of North Glengarry authorizes the Director of Public Works to consolidate the dumpster services for township facilities and high-density multi-residential facilities estimated in the financial implications of this report to ensure non-disruption of service.
Thank you, Councillor. Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this was a large tender that took us a few months to go through. So we had several showings where we had a lot of companies show interest. I think we had 13 companies take the bid documents. This was a digital submission, which is great. So we had lots of companies, including GFL, but a lot of companies, when they got down to the date, realized they wouldn't be able to mobilize the assets that we needed in time. So we really only had 2 bids that were submitted. One was HGC Management, and the other one was the current person who has a contract, GRS Sanitation. So GRS put up their prices by quite a lot. So almost double what they previously had. And it was really kind of what we were expecting, because this kind of operation has become a lot more expensive with the increase in fuel, increase in dumping fees, and we actually pay the dumping fees directly, but it's an expensive business to be in at the moment. So HGC had a good proposal. So they use a different kind of equipment than GRS, and we were very happy to get their bid. The main difference is they have a stand-up side loading truck. So that means instead of having a rear loading truck that has 2 operators to have, one on the back, one on the front, you have a driver who drives up, stops, steps out, puts the garbage in the side, steps back into the truck and keeps going. They are also equipped with side loaders, so manual side loaders that you hit the button and it'll lift a garbage tote in, which we'll make use of as well. But they are some very good facilities and gave us a very competitive rate. So we were very happy with that. It is still more than it is now, which is what we were expecting. The one item that was very different was we currently have a lot of, well, not a lot, but quite a few multi-res that are served by, and even two institutional that are served by dumpsters that are currently taken care of under our contract. So the previous GRS had because they were rear loaded, they also had the ability to dump dumpsters in the same truck. However, because of the dumpsters, they actually needed to run a separate truck anyway, just because of the quantity. So HGC doesn't have that capability, so we took that out of the contract. That was a provisional item. We reduced it to 0. They did put in a bid for it, and it was very competitive. But when we really went through the bid for them and with them, and we looked at their methodology, it wasn't suitable. The level of service that we'd be providing was very substandard. If we used them to pick up from the dumpsters, they essentially wanted to take it out of the dumpsters by hand and put it into the side of the truck, which wouldn't have worked for us. So in some instances, we've been able to swap those dumpsters for, especially where it's a low amount of apartments, but they were using a dumpster anyway. We've been able to swap those with rollable garbage totes for a fee that's been negotiated with the contractor. Those are mostly on Main Street. So I think there was something, there isn't really a record of this, but there was some sort of agreement made in the past, because this is a very old contract, to have those taking care of dumpsters so we don't have lots of garbage bags along Main Street. So we found a good solution that works for everybody. But when we get up there, when you're looking at units that are over 15 units, we still need to do some sort of dumpster service. So we want to go and try and get that out as essentially a separate request for quotation. We have that from a few companies at the moment, but it wasn't ready for this council meeting. But our plan is to get that in place before the changeover. So essentially August 1st, this will be, our current contract comes to an end, and we'd have to go with a new contractor. So it was very good. This also includes yard waste, and the recycling is included as well. So the recycling is only up until the transition date. So that's at the end of next year. That did make this a very difficult bid, and I think was a big reason why we didn't get a lot of bidders, is because they really had to deal with that. I'm going to have this contract for a while, but then it's going to disappear on me. So HGC were very happy with what they gave us. They have split trucks, so they're able to put them both in the same truck, and then he can change that out to a single once the transition date comes along. So yeah, we were very, very happy with what we actually got. There's still some stuff to tie up with the dumpster service, but we think we're lucky to get pricing this low, especially looking at the increases that the other municipalities have had with recent changes over to their new garbage collection contracts.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Questions or comments? Go ahead, Councilor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the recycling will still go to Rare, and the garbage will go to?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, GFL. We have a contract with them for garbage disposal. So our contractor needs to take it to the Moose Creek facility and dumps it there.
Okay, all right. A follow-up, if I could. So we have a fee on our taxes, right, for garbage collection. Will that fee cover the increase in cost of this?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes. So that fee covers the landfill. So we do operate a landfill as well, right, and covers the garbage collection. It is still within that amount. We won't need to raise the garbage fee. We are essentially, we put a little bit of that. We collect the garbage fee from everybody. A little bit of that goes into reserves because we have landfill closures and all of those sort of budgets as well. The operational costs of the landfill, the garbage collection itself, and then there's various environmental costs with dealing with the ministry. So there's a little bit less of that reserve amount going into that, from the landfills, but it's still within. We also, as part of this, we did a bit of an audit on which on those fees, and we found roughly 80 addresses that were receiving the service and weren't paying the fee. Just as an administrative error, it looks like it happened with the when the townships were amalgamated. There was 80 addresses that were missed out, so they got the fee added. So there is actually a little bit more revenue there as well. So.
Okay, good. Just follow up.
Just a follow-up, thank you. You mentioned about the containers that can be picked up by the truck and dumped in. Will residents get one of those containers? How does that work?
No, through use that they do not get it's not everybody who would get a rollable tote. So the contract is for 2 bags at the side of the road, but there are some specific addresses that, because they have that high density, they will be getting those totes, so we can mitigate any issues with the garbage bags on the side of the road. So that's currently 2 addresses. And there's several others that currently have dumpsters that I'm looking to go in and take care of separately.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Once those totes are seen by some people, there's a lot of people who are going to want them, I'm just saying. Just a quick question about the equipment. You said they have split use. Are they still single driver operator? Really? Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Good job on the tender, Tim. That's good. Okay, moving on to the award of sludge removal and dewatering. Okay, Councillor Cadell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Manley. The Council of the Township of North Glengarry authorizes the CAO and Mayor to enter into a 3-year unit price agreement with Bishop Water for sludge removal and dewatering from the Alexandria and/or Maxville lagoons, starting in 2023 for $122,918 per year plus HST, with 2 one-year options at the sole discretion of the township.
Thank you. Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we're very happy with this tender that came in. So the budget was $140,000. And we'll need to take this out or carry this out for several years. So it's a little bit under budget, which is great. There is an optional price for vegetation removal as well. So essentially, for anybody or anybody listening at home to kind of know what this is about, generally in your sewage lagoons, you get solid and liquid material that comes into these lagoons from the residential sewer system. The sludge, and essentially what we're trying to do is there's a microbial environment there that essentially treats that water so it can be released back into the environment. That's the purpose of the lagoons. And as this sludge builds up, it takes away volume that those microbes can live in. So what we're trying to do is take that sludge out to give more capacity back to the lagoon and let us treat that water more effectively. So as you can tell that a lagoon is essentially not operating as efficiently as it could as you get this buildup on the surface of the lagoon. So that's what this sludge removal is about, to make it more efficient. So there is some vegetation buildup that builds up during the summer, but talking with the contractor, their price that they've submitted doesn't include that vegetation removal. We do have it itemized as a separate item that we can put in, but we think that if we do this close to the end of the year, the vegetation will be able to die off and we can do it just as we go. It is a dredge that moves around. On page 2 of the report, you can see the buildup of where we're doing our tests, and we're finding we're having high sludge areas. We did have 2 bids that came in for this. So one is this proposal, which we're recommending. The other was from Wessex. They had a different approach that actually had this material spread on fields. We had issues with that mostly because we didn't really get into the bigger issues, but the main issue at the top is that there hasn't been an analytical done on this sludge. That would take time and resources, so we weren't confident that it was going to get done in time without getting into all the other issues. But this is a geotube system which removes it, puts it into these bags which dewater it, and then it can just be kept on the same site, as we have a lot of land there, and don't really need to remove it, because as it actually waters, it actually really doesn't take up that much space. So yeah, we're very happy with this, and essentially we want to do a multi-year contract with this contractor, because as you have the geotubes there, their system essentially works with these geotube bags. So it's a lot better to use those. So at the bottom of the report, you can see essentially the unit rates, and they would be required every year before February, the end of February, I believe, to resubmit their pricing. And if it varies by, I think we said more than 2%, oh no, sorry, not more than 2%, more than the percentage increase of the consumer price index, then we could cancel the contract if we wanted to, or have them provide reasoning why something is so high. The reason for that is a lot of these consumables, like the polymer that's used, can really vary greatly. So we wanted to have a little bit of flexibility there, but also have them retain their pricing. So yeah, we're very happy with that, and it's the same process that we can extend to the Maxville lagoons, because as this process wraps up, the Maxville lagoons are going to need a similar treatment. So if we can retain that kind of pricing, that really works for us really well.
Thank you, Tim. Questions or comments? It's a dirty job, but all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. None opposed. And just at our committee of the whole, we had discussed just about the speeding signs. There's some unanswered questions that we need to get more information on. So promise that it'll be up at the July meeting. Just we need to contact the counties before doing anything, and gets just on the budgeting. So, okay. Items under the consent agenda, Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Manley, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receives the items from the consent agenda for the information purposes only.
Thank you, Councillor. Any questions on the consent agenda? All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. None opposed. No new business. Notice of motion. Next regular public meeting of council is Monday, July 10th, 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. Question period? No questions. And we do have a closed session, so we will take a 3-minute break and then get into closed session. Thank you, everyone, for joining us who are watching at home. Just a reminder that Canada Day festivities are this weekend on this Friday and Saturday, June 30th, Apple Hill and Maxville. July 1st here in Alexandria, and July 2nd in Glen Robertson. Check out your local newspaper and online on Facebook to get all the times of all the great entertainment that's happening. And it's nice to see our flags go up on Main Street. Looks really good. So anyways, happy Canada Day weekend.